Aaron Hayes stood at the edge of the platform, looking out at the horizon of the alien city. It was unlike anything he had ever seen on Earth. Tall, silver towers rose like jagged mountains, their surfaces shimmering in the sunlight. Skyways connected the buildings, and ships hovered silently in the air. The city was alive with movement, but it felt calm and organized in a way humans rarely experienced. Aaron had been here for months now, as the only human in the United Galactic Alliance's fleet. He had fought alongside many alien species, but he had never felt truly at home until now. The Council had summoned him. He didn't know exactly why at first, but when he arrived, the truth became clear. The leaders of the Alliance wanted to reward him. Not just with medals or titles, they wanted him to choose a companion from among the alien delegates. In their culture, it was considered a great honor. The companion was not merely a friend. She was a partner, someone who could stand beside him and share his life. Aaron had expected the aliens to offer choices based on beauty, strength, or intelligence. That was their custom, after all. And when he saw the three candidates waiting for him, he realized exactly what they expected. The first was tall and slender, her skin glimmering like polished crystal. Her movements were precise and elegant, every gesture deliberate. She had fought alongside him in a skirmish months ago and had impressed the fleet with her speed and agility. Aaron had to admit she was remarkable. The second was of average height, with sharp features and bright eyes that seemed to see everything. She had a reputation as a strategist, someone who could analyze a situation in moments and devise a perfect solution. Her intelligence was undeniable. She spoke little at first, but when she did, her words carried weight and meaning. The Council looked at Aaron expectantly, certain he would choose her. And then there was the third. She was plump, with soft features and a round face that seemed to smile even when she was silent. Her movements were slower than the first, less precise than the second, but there was something about her that drew Aaron's attention. She watched him closely, tilting her head as if trying to understand him. Her curiosity was evident, and her eyes sparkled with a warmth that the others lacked. She didn't seem concerned with appearances or status. She simply was. The Council whispered among themselves. "Surely the human will choose one of the first two," one murmured. "It is expected," another agreed. Aaron noticed their anticipation but did not let it sway him. He knew there was more to these choices than what met the eye. Aaron approached the three women slowly, observing them closely. He greeted each of them with a nod, careful to make eye contact. The first bowed gracefully, her movements flawless. The second inclined her head slightly, analyzing him as she had analyzed every other officer she had worked with. The third simply smiled, her eyes curious but friendly. He realized immediately that this would not be an easy decision. Each had qualities that were admirable, each could serve as a companion in different ways. But he was looking for something else entirely. He was looking for someone who could complement his strengths, someone who could handle the unexpected, someone who could adapt. Over the next few days, he spent time with all three. They shared meals in the open courtyards of the alien city, watched the ships glide silently overhead, and talked about life, duty, and the universe. The first spoke mostly of her accomplishments, her victories in combat, and her rigorous training. The second discussed strategy, theories of diplomacy, and the intricate systems that govern the Alliance. Aaron respected both of them, but he noticed something crucial. They were focused on what they had already mastered, on the skills they already possessed. Tira, the plump one, fascinated him the most. She asked questions about Earth, about humans, about how he had survived in the vast and unpredictable universe. She laughed easily, found joy in small things, and noticed details that others overlooked. When a minor accident occurred in the kitchen, spilled water threatening to ruin the meal, she acted quickly, calmly, and cleverly to save it. She didn't boast about her actions, she simply solved the problem and smiled. Aaron began to understand why she was different. In battle, the flashy skills of the others were important, but in life, in real situations, it was the ability to adapt, to think, and to care that mattered most. Tira had this quality in abundance. She did not need to be the fastest, the smartest, or the most beautiful to make a difference. She simply was capable, confident, and attentive in ways that mattered. During a quiet moment in the gardens, Aaron sat with Tira under a silver-leafed tree. "You notice everything," he said, watching her study the patterns of the sunlight on the ground. She shrugged, smiling. "I like to pay attention. It helps me understand. Not everything is as it seems." The first continued to demonstrate grace and precision, but she was rigid in her approach. The second remained analytical, brilliant in theory, but distant in practice. Neither of them could match Tira's combination of empathy, insight, and quick thinking. He realized that while they were admirable in their own ways, they lacked the human-like qualities that made a real companion invaluable. The council noticed his hesitation. "He is taking his time," one whispered. "Surely he must see the obvious choice." But Aaron was not concerned with appearances or expectations. He was concerned with the future, with what truly mattered in the unpredictable universe they all shared. On the final day of observation, the three women gathered with him in the central courtyard. Aaron looked at each of them carefully, considering not only their abilities but their character, their curiosity, and their capacity to grow. The council watched, their expressions a mixture of anticipation and doubt. Aaron took a deep breath. He knew his decision would surprise them, perhaps it would even shock them, but he also knew it was the right choice. In a universe where judgment was often clouded by appearances and titles, he would trust his own instinct and understanding. He stepped forward, his gaze steady. "I have made my choice," he said. The council leaned in, eager to hear which of the remarkable women he would select. The first held her breath, the second straightened, and Tira looked at him with quiet curiosity. "I choose her," Aaron said, pointing to Tira. "She is capable, clever, and adaptable. She notices what others miss. She understands the world in ways that matter. She is not concerned with appearances, and she does not need validation. She is the one I want by my side." The first woman's expression was polite but distant, the second's sharp eyes betrayed surprise, and Tira simply smiled as if she had expected it all along. One of the council members cleared their throat. "You choose her, the plump one?" they asked, struggling to reconcile their expectations with Aaron's choice. Aaron nodded calmly. "Yes." Strength is not always measured by speed or brilliance alone. In the chaos of the universe, it is adaptability, empathy, and insight that make the difference. She has these qualities in abundance. "I am honored," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was a spark in her eyes that spoke of intelligence, humor, and courage. Aaron felt a sense of relief. He had made the right choice, not for the approval of the council, not for tradition, but because he had recognized true value where it mattered most. As they walked through the gardens together, Aaron realized that this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of unknown challenges and unexpected opportunities. By choosing Tira, he had selected not just a companion, but a partner who could think, adapt, and grow alongside him. In the days that followed, he watched as the council slowly came to respect his decision. They observed Tira's quiet efficiency, her clever solutions to minor problems, and her genuine care for those around her. Their whispers of doubt turned to nods of approval. Aaron smiled to himself. Humans often saw the world differently, and sometimes that perspective made all the difference. The horizon stretched endlessly before them, ships gliding silently across the sky, towers reflecting the sunlight. Aaron felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. The universe was unpredictable, but he knew that with Tira by his side, they could face whatever came next. Together, they would navigate the complexities of alien politics, the challenges of exploration, and the unexpected surprises that awaited them. And in that moment, Aaron Hayes felt a quiet pride. Not for the reward itself, not for recognition, but for the simple truth that he had chosen wisely. In a universe full of rules, expectations, and appearances, he had trusted instinct, understanding, and heart. That was a human strength, and it was one the galaxy would soon come to respect. Aaron and Tira walked through the city streets, the sunlight glinting off the tall towers and the hovering ships casting soft shadows across the ground. The air smelled faintly of metal and alien flora, a mixture that Aaron had grown to enjoy. It was peaceful, but he knew that peace was often fragile in this universe. He had learned to appreciate quiet moments like this because they were rare. Tira moved beside him with a calm confidence that Aaron admired. Her curiosity was endless, and she asked questions about everything she saw. "What is that?" she asked, pointing at a hovering cart delivering supplies above the street. "That's a cargo drone," Aaron explained. "It carries food and materials to different parts of the city. It's faster and safer than ground transport." Humans must have invented clever ways to avoid accidents. But she was not like the others he had met. She did not focus on rules or reputation. She focused on understanding, adapting, and helping where needed. That was rare. The next day, Aaron arranged for them to train together with the fleet's newest technology. The aliens had introduced a series of complex simulations to test soldiers, decision-making, teamwork, and adaptability. The other candidates had completed these exercises with skill, relying on precision, strategy, and speed. Tira approached them differently. She watched first, observing the patterns of the simulation and the behaviors of the other participants. When it was her turn, she didn't try to perform perfectly or show off. Instead, she used clever shortcuts, small improvisations, and clear thinking to solve each problem efficiently. Aaron watched in quiet admiration. The other participants struggled to adapt when unexpected changes occurred, but Tira thrived in the uncertainty. "You are very good at this," Aaron said as they stepped out of the simulation chamber. Tira laughed softly. "I just notice things that others miss. It's like a game. If you look carefully, the solution is always there, waiting to be seen." Later, they shared a meal in the city's communal dining hall. The room was filled with soldiers and civilians from many species, each eating, laughing, and exchanging stories. Tira seemed fascinated by every detail, the way different species ate, how they communicated, and the technology they used. "Humans do not eat like this," she said, holding a strange utensil in her hands. It must take practice to manage all these flavors and textures. These qualities made her not just capable, but also trustworthy, a companion he could rely on in any situation. Over the next week, Aaron took Tira to various parts of the city, introducing her to the fleet, the council, and other soldiers. Everywhere they went, she asked questions, noticed small details, and offered practical suggestions. Sometimes they were simple ideas like rearranging supplies for easier access, and sometimes they were clever solutions to complex problems. One evening, they were walking along a quiet river that ran through the city, silver light reflecting on the water. Tira paused, staring at a floating garden. "Humans have rivers like this too?" she asked. Aaron nodded. "Yes, but not like this. Your designs are beautiful. It is amazing how different life can be in another world." And she seemed to understand that instinctively. A few days later, a minor crisis arose in the training yard. A small maintenance bot malfunctioned, spilling water across the floor and threatening to short-circuit some equipment. The other candidates froze, unsure how to respond. Tira stepped forward immediately. She moved quickly, unplugging cables, redirecting the water, and using nearby materials to contain the damage. Aaron observed silently, impressed by her calm efficiency. The situation was handled before anyone else even knew there had been a problem. Tira didn't boast or draw attention to herself. She simply acted, quietly solving the problem and smiling as if it were nothing. "That is exactly why I chose you," Aaron said later that day as they sat in the courtyard. "It's not speed or strength that matters. It's thinking, observing, and acting when it counts. You have all of that. That is a human quality we rely on, and now I see it in you too." One afternoon, they came across a small workshop filled with strange machines. Tira wandered among them, touching carefully, examining patterns, and asking questions. Aaron watched her quietly, realizing that her intelligence was not just theoretical, it was practical. She could see how things worked, understand their purpose, and adapt them to new situations. "You have a talent for this," Aaron said, watching her adjust a device to make it more efficient. She smiled. "I like to figure things out. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one, but you have to notice it first." While the other candidates might have impressed the council with skill or appearance, Tira had something far more valuable: adaptability, insight, and empathy. As they walked back to the quarters, Tira paused and looked up at the sky. "Do humans always choose differently?" she asked. Aaron laughed softly. "Sometimes we see value where others don't. That can be dangerous, but it can also be very rewarding. They might not be the fastest, strongest, or most skilled, but their perspective, their ability to adapt, and their willingness to notice what others miss gave them an edge that could not be underestimated." In the following days, Aaron and Tira continued to grow closer, learning from each other and sharing their perspectives. Tira's presence brought a new energy to his life, a combination of curiosity, cleverness, and warmth that he had not realized he had been missing. The council began to notice the change as well. They watched Tira's quiet efficiency, her clever solutions, and her ability to understand complex situations quickly. Slowly, their whispers of doubt turned into admiration. They had expected Aaron to choose based on appearances or status, but instead, he had chosen based on character and capability. It was a lesson they would not forget. One evening, as they watched the sun set over the city, Aaron felt a sense of calm he had not experienced since arriving in this world. The silver towers glowed in the fading light, ships drifted silently across the sky, and the river reflected the colors of the sunset. Tira leaned against him, smiling quietly. "You made the right choice," she said softly. Aaron nodded. "I did. And so did you, by being exactly who you are." Aaron knew that humanity's true strength lay in seeing potential where others did not. And now he realized that he had found someone who shared that vision. Tira was not just a companion. She was a partner, a friend, and a symbol of everything humans valued: intelligence, empathy, and the ability to thrive in the unpredictable. As the city lights began to twinkle, Aaron felt a quiet sense of hope. The universe was vast, full of surprises, and often dangerous in ways that no one could predict. But with Tira by his side, he knew they could navigate it all. Together, they would face whatever came next, not with strength alone, but with insight, understanding, and cleverness. And in that moment, Aaron Hayes felt a deep pride, not for recognition, not for reward, but for the simple truth that he had chosen wisely. The universe might underestimate humans, but he knew that their greatest strength lay in seeing what others could not. And now, with Tira by his side, they were ready to show the galaxy exactly what that meant. The morning sun rose over the silver towers of the alien city, casting long shadows across the streets. Aaron and Tira stood on the observation deck of the fleet's training facility, looking out at the floating drones and hovering ships moving in coordinated patterns below. Today, they were scheduled to participate in a simulation unlike any they had faced before, a full-scale exercise designed to test creativity, teamwork, and problem-solving under pressure. Aaron glanced at Tira. "Ready?" he asked. She smiled, her eyes bright. "As ready as I'll ever be. Let's see what surprises they have for us today." The objective was to manage the chaos efficiently while helping the inhabitants, both alien and human, reach safety. Aaron watched as the other participants quickly reacted. The first candidate relied on her agility, moving from task to task with perfect precision, but becoming overwhelmed as the situations changed unpredictably. The second analyzed patterns and data, issuing calculated instructions to teams, but struggled to adapt when the simulation introduced unexpected variables. Tira, however, moved differently. She observed carefully, noticing details others ignored. A malfunctioning drone hovered dangerously near a bridge, threatening to block the evacuation route. While others focused on pre-planned solutions, Tira quickly grabbed a nearby control panel, rerouted the drone's flight path, and created a safe passage. Aaron followed her quietly, impressed. She did not act for recognition or show, she acted because it was the best solution. The council had emphasized efficiency and leadership, but Tira had something more: intuition. She could see problems before they became critical and solve them in ways that seemed effortless. The simulation continued, introducing more challenges. Communications lines went down, transportation pods malfunctioned, and minor power outages created confusion among the participants. Panic could have spread quickly, but Tira remained calm. She directed small groups, suggested simple but clever fixes, and adapted constantly as new obstacles appeared. At one point, a malfunctioning energy node threatened to shut down the central sector. The first candidate hesitated, unsure which action to take. The second calculated options but was slowed by overanalyzing. Tira quickly suggested a temporary reroute of energy flow using nearby auxiliary systems. She explained her method simply, and Aaron helped her implement it. The crisis was averted before anyone else realized how close they had been to failure. Aaron felt a quiet sense of pride. This was exactly why he had chosen her. Intelligence and skill were important, but insight, adaptability, and calm decision-making were what truly mattered in situations like this. Tira had all of those qualities in abundance. The simulation continued for several more hours, testing their endurance, teamwork, and creative thinking. Tira remained focused and efficient, improvising solutions whenever needed. She noticed small details, like a minor blockage in a transport tube that could delay evacuees, or a malfunctioning control panel that might cause confusion. Each time, she acted quickly and effectively, often correcting problems before they escalated. Aaron worked alongside her, coordinating efforts where necessary but mostly letting her take the lead in observation and quick problem-solving. He saw how the other participants struggled under pressure, relying too heavily on protocol and rigid thinking. Tira, on the other hand, thrived in unpredictability. By the end of the simulation, the results were clear. Tira had consistently found solutions faster, more efficiently, and more creatively than anyone else. The council members watched, nodding in approval, their earlier skepticism replaced by admiration. Aaron knew that Tira had proven herself not just as a capable companion, but as someone whose judgment and skill could match the unpredictable challenges of real missions. After the simulation, Aaron and Tira walked through the city gardens to debrief. The air was filled with the scent of alien flowers, and the soft hum of the city created a peaceful contrast to the chaos of the exercise. "You did amazing," Aaron said. "I knew you were clever, but seeing it in action, it's impressive." Others were too focused on rules or appearances to see it. During a routine inspection of the fleet, a small transport vessel experienced technical difficulties. The crew inside could not operate the ship properly, and it hovered dangerously near the edge of the docking platform. The other officers were unsure how to respond. Tira stepped forward immediately. She analyzed the situation quickly, instructing the crew with calm, clear directions. She guided them through simple adjustments to stabilize the ship and prevent damage. Aaron assisted where needed, but she was the one orchestrating the solution. Within minutes, the vessel was safely docked, and the crew cheered for her ingenuity. "See what I mean?" Aaron said quietly to a nearby officer. "It's not just skill. It's insight and quick thinking that make the difference." "You were everywhere at once," Aaron said. "I've never seen someone adapt so quickly." "Maybe humans are different too. You seem to notice things others overlook as well. That is why we work well together." The following days brought more exercises, each designed to test different aspects of problem-solving, observation, and teamwork. Tira continued to impress, adapting to every new challenge and finding solutions that others could not. Each success reinforced Aaron's confidence in his choice. He had chosen not for appearances or prestige, but for character and capability. And every day, that choice proved itself to be wise. One afternoon, they were assigned to coordinate a complex logistical exercise involving multiple teams, supply chains, and emergency responses. The scenario required fast thinking and careful observation. The other participants struggled to manage the chaos, often focusing on individual tasks without seeing the bigger picture. Tira, however, noticed patterns, anticipated problems, and offered practical solutions that kept the exercise running smoothly. Aaron observed quietly, feeling a sense of satisfaction. He realized that Tira's ability to adapt, empathize, and think creatively was exactly the kind of human-like advantage he had hoped for. The council watched with growing admiration, and whispers of approval spread among the onlookers. During a break, Aaron and Tira sat together, reflecting on the exercise. "You really have a talent for this," Aaron said. Tira laughed softly. "I just notice what others miss. It helps to stay calm and think clearly. That is what matters, not being the fastest or strongest. That's why humans survive in the universe. We see potential where others do not, and we trust our instincts." She understood the true reason behind his choice, and that understanding deepened their connection. In a universe full of challenges, he realized that he had found someone who shared his perspective and his values. As the day ended and the sun set behind the silver towers, Aaron and Tira walked along the river, watching the reflections of the city lights in the water. The air was calm, and the city seemed peaceful, but both knew that challenges would come again. And when they did, they would face them together, using insight, creativity, and careful observation to succeed. Aaron felt a sense of quiet confidence. Humans might be underestimated by the galaxy, but their greatest strength lay in seeing what others could not, and trusting in those who shared that vision. Tira was one such person. She was not just a companion. She was a partner, a friend, and a symbol of everything he valued: intelligence, adaptability, and understanding. And as the stars began to twinkle in the sky above the city, Aaron knew that together they were ready for whatever the universe had in store. They had proven that strength was not always about speed, size, or prestige. True strength lay in insight, calm decision-making, and the ability to adapt. Tira glanced at him, her smile warm and confident. "We make a good team," she said. Aaron nodded, returning her smile. "The best team, and this is only the beginning." The alien towers gleamed in the early sunlight, and the floating ships drifted slowly in the sky. Today was different. The council had announced a new exercise, one that would test problem-solving, leadership, and adaptability on a larger scale than before. This time, it wasn't a simple simulation. The entire city's systems would be part of the exercise, and teams would have to respond to unexpected situations across multiple sectors. Aaron met Tira at the central plaza. She was already observing the flow of people, ships, and drones with quiet attention. Her eyes noticed small inefficiencies immediately. A delivery drone slightly off course, a minor delay in the energy distribution system. She smiled when she saw him. "Looks like today is going to be interesting," she said. Aaron nodded. "Interesting is good, challenging is better. Are you ready?" Transportation, communications, and water distribution were all affected. Teams were assigned different zones, and their objective was to maintain operations, assist civilians, and solve problems as they arose. Aaron and Tira were assigned to the Central Command Zone, the heart of the city's management systems. From there, they would coordinate their team's responses and provide guidance where necessary. The other candidates were assigned to more specialized sectors, expected to follow the pre-planned protocols. As the exercise unfolded, chaos seemed to spread, at least on the surface. A water supply drone malfunctioned, threatening to flood a residential district. Energy nodes flickered unpredictably, and some transport pods stalled midair. Participants scrambled, trying to follow procedures and maintain order. Tira moved with calm efficiency. She noticed the malfunctioning drone first and suggested a quick reroute to avoid flooding the area. She then identified a backup energy node to stabilize the sector, giving Aaron time to assist other teams. Their coordination was seamless, almost instinctive. The other candidates struggled. They relied heavily on rules and previous experience, but the exercise introduced variables they hadn't anticipated. One candidate tried to correct a transport pod issue by following a standard protocol, but the pod responded differently due to an unexpected system interaction. Tira, however, quickly spotted the anomaly and suggested a practical solution that worked immediately. Aaron watched, impressed. Tira's ability to observe, adapt, and act calmly in real time was exactly what he had anticipated. She didn't rely on strength, speed, or reputation. She relied on perception, understanding, and clever problem-solving. In unpredictable situations, those qualities were far more valuable than raw skill. As the exercise progressed, more challenges appeared. The communications network in one district went down entirely. The other teams were unsure how to maintain coordination. Tira suggested using auxiliary channels and simplified visual signals to communicate with the sector teams. Aaron implemented her idea, and the teams were able to continue their tasks without delay. At one point, a minor transport hub malfunctioned, leaving several pods stuck midair. Panic could have spread among the participants and simulated citizens, but Tira remained calm. She analyzed the situation and devised a solution. By adjusting the hub's energy flow and guiding the pods with temporary overrides, they could land safely. The other candidates had been struggling for minutes, but Tira completed the task in less than half the time with no mistakes. Aaron smiled quietly. This was exactly why he had chosen her. The council had expected him to pick based on appearances or titles, but Tira had shown repeatedly that true value came from insight, adaptability, and empathy. She had all of that, and she used it naturally. By midday, the exercise had reached its peak. Multiple sectors were reporting minor crises simultaneously, and the other teams were becoming overwhelmed. Tira and Aaron coordinated calmly, dividing responsibilities and focusing on practical solutions. They prioritized the most critical issues first, reassigned resources efficiently, and communicated clearly with every team. The result was impressive. While the other candidates struggled to maintain control, Aaron and Tira kept their zone functioning smoothly. Simulated civilians were assisted promptly, systems were stabilized, and the chaos, while apparent, never reached a critical point. The council observed with growing admiration. During a break, Aaron and Tira walked through a quiet garden connected to the central zone. The sun reflected off the silver towers, creating patterns of light and shadow on the ground. "You handled that perfectly," Aaron said, watching her adjust a small auxiliary control panel with ease. "I don't think anyone else could have managed it so smoothly. We see possibilities and solve problems others overlook, and now I see that you do it too." They didn't need to compete with others for recognition. They simply solved the problems that mattered. The final stage of the exercise introduced an unexpected twist. A series of minor system failures occurred simultaneously. A water channel blocked, a transport pod stalled, and an energy node fluctuated dangerously. Other teams reacted in panic, unsure how to prioritize. Aaron and Tira assessed the situation calmly. Tira suggested a practical sequence of actions. Stabilize the energy node first to prevent further malfunctions, reroute water flow to prevent flooding, and use auxiliary transport channels to guide the pods safely to their destinations. Erin implemented her plan, coordinating with the sector teams. Within minutes, the crises were resolved. The other participants were amazed. They had struggled for far longer and still had unresolved issues. The council members approached afterward, clearly impressed. One of them, an elder alien with eyes like polished amber, spoke. "Human and your companion, your coordination and judgment are exceptional. Most participants rely on rules and strength, but you relied on understanding and perception. That is rare. Sometimes the smallest or least obvious can be the most capable." After the exercise, Erin and Tira walked along the city's river, the water reflecting the golden light of the setting sun. The hum of the city was calm, and the air carried the faint scent of alien flora. "You handled everything so well," Erin said. "I knew you were capable, but seeing it in action is something else entirely. The rest follows naturally, and now I see it in you too." As night fell, the city seemed peaceful, but Erin knew that the universe was always unpredictable. Still, he felt a quiet reassurance. They had faced complex challenges today with intelligence, calm, and creativity. Tomorrow would bring new tests, new surprises, and new opportunities to prove themselves. Tira looked at him with a gentle smile. "No matter what happens next, we'll handle it together." In a universe full of unpredictability, that connection was more powerful than any weapon, faster than any machine, and stronger than any display of force. The stars began to appear above the towers, reflecting in the river below. Erin and Tira walked slowly along the banks, side by side, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Today had proven that appearances could be deceiving, and strength was more than what met the eye. Tomorrow, and every day after, they would continue to show that insight, intelligence, and understanding were the real measures of power. And with that, they stepped forward into the night, confident, calm, and ready to meet the universe on their own terms. The sun rose over the alien city, casting long reflections across the silver towers. Today was not a training exercise. Today, the council had announced a real-world challenge designed to test the humans and their companions in a situation closer to reality. A small but critical scientific outpost on the outskirts of the city had encountered unexpected system failures. The council needed volunteers to coordinate a solution, ensuring the outpost remained functional while protecting delicate research equipment and the lives of the scientists stationed there. Erin and Tira stood at the fleet's docking station, preparing to travel to the outpost. Tira adjusted her uniform, her eyes scanning the city one last time. "Are you ready for this?" she asked. Erin smiled. "As ready as we can be. Remember, it's not about who is fastest or strongest. It's about observing, understanding, and acting smart. That's what we do best." The transport ship glided smoothly above the city, then soared toward the outskirts, passing rolling landscapes and distant research stations. Erin and Tira reviewed their plan as they traveled. "We'll need to assess the systems first," Erin said. "Then we can divide responsibilities. You notice patterns others may miss, and I'll coordinate the logistics. Together, we can handle anything they throw at us." While others might have panicked or followed protocols blindly, Tira immediately began observing, her sharp eyes scanning the environment. She pointed to a minor energy module. "This is where the fluctuation started. It's small, but if ignored, it could cause delays across the station." "Let's start there." Erin coordinated with her, sending instructions to other personnel and monitoring results. Where others might have panicked or wasted time on bureaucracy, Erin and Tira worked efficiently, their decisions complementing each other perfectly. During their assessment, Tira discovered a more complex issue. A delicate research device required recalibration, but the system controlling it was unstable. A wrong move could delay important experiments or risk damaging sensitive equipment. The other participants were unsure how to proceed. Tira, however, examined the device carefully, observing the subtle signs in the readings and controls. "I can recalibrate it safely," she said. "We just need to adjust the sequence and timing carefully." "How did you figure it out so quickly?" The council might have expected him to select someone for appearances or reputation, but Tira had demonstrated that intelligence, observation, and calm judgment mattered far more. Throughout the day, more small problems arose. Communication links temporarily failed, a transport drone needed rerouting, and minor environmental sensors malfunctioned. Each time, Tira noticed the solution before anyone else, and Erin coordinated her efforts, ensuring the team moved smoothly. By late afternoon, the outpost was fully operational. Every system had been stabilized, and the scientists were able to continue their work without further interruption. The council observed remotely, their amazement growing with each successful intervention. One council member, the elder with amber-like eyes, spoke over the comm. "Human Erin, your companion has proven exceptional. Not only is she clever and adaptable, but she also remains calm under pressure. This is the skill that ensures survival, success, and progress. Truly remarkable. I'm fortunate to have her as a partner. Insight, observation, and calm action are as valuable as strength or speed, sometimes more. I've never seen anyone handle so many unexpected challenges so smoothly. That's why I chose you. You are not just capable, you are remarkable. And now I see that you do the same." The council soon arrived at the outpost to observe the results in person. Their expressions were filled with respect and admiration, a stark contrast to the skepticism they had shown at the beginning. One council member approached Erin and Tira. "You have demonstrated what true capability is," she said. "It is not about appearances or speed. It is about insight, observation, and calm action. You have shown us the value of choice and perception. It was a challenge, and I enjoyed solving it with Erin." Erin and Tira stood on the observation deck, looking out across the fleet and the distant towers. "You know," Erin said, "most people would have chosen someone flashy or skilled in appearance, but that wouldn't have worked. They wouldn't adapt the way you do. I thought they would pick the others." They had faced challenges, adapted, and succeeded, proving that true strength lay not in appearances, reputation, or brute skill, but in insight, calm judgment, and the ability to see what others might miss. The universe was vast and unpredictable, but for the first time since arriving in this alien city, Erin felt truly ready. With Tira by his side, he could face any challenge, navigate any unexpected problem, and show the galaxy that humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of thriving where others might fail. Tira glanced at him. "Do you ever wonder why humans survive so often? And we choose companions wisely." Erin knew that the universe would continue to present new problems and surprises. But with Tira by his side, he felt confident they could handle anything. Not through strength alone, not through speed or status, but through insight, understanding, and clever action. That was humanity's true advantage, and now Tira had shown that she shared it fully. And so, under the silver glow of the city and the twinkling stars above, Erin and Tira walked back into the heart of the fleet, ready for whatever the universe had in store, their partnership stronger than ever, a testament to the value of choosing wisely and trusting in understanding. The council would remember this day. The city would remember this day. And most importantly, Erin knew that the real lesson of the day had been proven. Appearances could be deceiving, true strength lay in insight and humans, and those who saw as they did could thrive anywhere in the universe. Together, they were unstoppable.